Welcome back to the channel. I hope you enjoy. I nearly died when I worked in a fire tower. Now I guard windmills, and I'm not sure if I'll survive the shift. I used to work as a park ranger in a fire tower. After that went horribly bad, I got a job working in a warehouse. That also was a disaster. I just wish I would stop finding jobs that have strange rules. I don't go looking for terrifying supernatural happenings, they just seem to find me. The bad part is I need a job if I want to keep living in my opulent, non-alley dweller begging for food lifestyle. I was looking through the job pages for anything. I was about to apply to a fast food restaurant when my eyes fell on an ad for a night watchman. I was about to pass it up, thinking about the injuries that were still healing after my last night watchman job, when I noticed it was for a wind farm. I had to look up exactly what a wind farm was and found out it was where they had wind turbines that generated electricity. I saw there was a lot of controversy over environmentalists claiming that wind turbines were the worst thing to ever happen to wildlife. I always thought wind turbines were designed to replace dangerous nuclear power plants and polluting coal and oil ones. I guess you can't please some people. I called the number and was surprised to receive an answer from an actual person rather than an answering machine. The man asked if I could start today. Not could I interview or fill out a bunch of paperwork, if I could start. He didn't even know me. My spidey sense was telling me to beware. He told me the hourly wage, and there was an immediate $500 signing bonus. Greed and need pushed their way to the front of my thoughts, and I agreed to come to the job site. I told him I had some questions. He hesitated but agreed. 25 minutes later, I turned down a gravel road past an open gate with a sign beside it that read, Larson Energy Limited. I pulled next to a building that reminded me of the warehouse where I worked for one day and was nearly killed. I shivered at the thought and hoped this job would turn out much better. I walked up to the door and was nearly run over by a short, round, balding man who appeared to be on his late 40s. His hand was outstretched and shaking mine before the door was completely open. "Are you the one I talked to on the phone?" he said, smiling. "I believe so." "Good," he said. "Come with me, I'll show you around." I followed him to a pickup truck and got on the passenger's side. He started it up and headed down a dirt road that was surrounded by trees that were in the general direction of the wind turbines. I stared at them in awe, having never been closer to one than a few miles away. "Impressive, aren't they?" he said, following my gaze. "Very. Just wait until you get beside one." He drove slowly, not going over 25 miles per hour, but the road dictated the speed in general. It had some potholes that were large. I could imagine there would be mini lakes during a heavy rainstorm. "I'm not sure my car would make it through here during bad weather," I said. "Not to worry," he said. "This is a company truck. This is what you'll be driving." "And what exactly would my duties be?" "Exactly what we're doing now," he said, sweeping his arms toward the windshield. "Doing rounds, making sure no one is messing with the turbines." I waited for the rest, for the strange rules, for the catch. "That's it?" "That's it," he said. "You'll do 4 rounds a night. You make sure no one is stealing anything or messing around with the turbines. Other than that, you just chase off trespassers." "Do you have a lot of trespassers?" He seemed to hesitate for a moment. Once in a while, some environmentalist will lurk around trying to take pictures of birds being hurt by the turbines. They even like to dress up as woodland creatures to scare people. What do I do if I catch one? Take their picture and forward it to the police. That's it? You won't be carrying a gun or anything if that's what you're asking. No, I meant shouldn't I inform you or security? You are security. I stopped and thought about it for a moment. Don't worry, he said. It doesn't happen often. Is there anything that does happen often? What do you mean? Are there any strange rules or anything weird that happens that I should know about? His eyes grew wider, but he tried to answer calmly. No, of course not. My eyes bored into his, searching for any lies. He looked away, pretending to pay attention to the road. It's very simple, he said. Do your rounds, make sure no one trespasses, and you'll be fine. You can even bring a portable DVD player if you want, or a book to read. Even use the company Wi-Fi to watch movies on your phone, as long as you do your rounds. No catch? No catch. We had just arrived back at the main building. He parked in front and led me inside to do paperwork and give me a check for the $500 bonus. Awesome, I said. When do I start? He looked at his watch. Right now. Really? He handed me the keys to the truck. Go get whatever you need out of your car and you can start your first round. I looked at my watch as I walked out the door. It was 5 till 7 in the evening. I got my water bottle and lunchbox from my car, then headed towards the truck. Another similar pickup pulled into the spot beside me and a man got out. He was older than me, tall and thin, probably in his 50s. Are you the new guy? He said, walking over to me. I guess so, I said, shaking his hand. I do the daylight shift. So, did he tell you everything? I think so, I said as the manager came flying out through the doors. No time for chit-chat, he said, chuckling nervously. Time to make that first round. I looked from him to the other guard. I could tell there was concern on both of their faces, but they seemed to be different. The guard turned back towards his truck. Nice to meet you, he said, getting in his truck and busying himself with something. The manager breathed a sigh of relief and turned away. Oh, one last thing. The office is locked after hours, so if you need any facilities... He turned and pointed to a porta-potty sitting near the edge of the parking lot. Understood, I said. Who do I contact in case of emergency? He reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card, and then handed it to me. Emergencies only, he said. Then he smiled and walked to his car, started it, and drove away. I got in the truck and started it up, nearly having a heart attack when the other guard knocked on the window. Here, he said, handing me a piece of paper. You can call or text if you have any trouble. Thanks, I said, taking the paper. He opened his mouth as if to say something else, then closed it and walked away. I watched as he drove to the gate, got out of his car, closed, and locked it. It didn't have the same feeling of finality as when I was locked in the horrible warehouse, but it was close. Nothing to be afraid of, I told myself, just security measures. I kept telling myself that as I started down the dirt road toward the wind turbines. I drove slowly, wanting to make sure I kept an eye out for anyone. Even though the sun hadn't set yet, it was darker on the road as the trees blocked the sunlight. The road was barely a 2-lane, but I didn't think I'd have to worry about any traffic jams out here. I rolled my window down and the scent of pine filled the truck. I leaned my arm out the window and took a deep breath. The last time I was in a forest like this was the warehouse job, but I didn't get to enjoy the trees. This was like gliding down a river that cut through the middle of a forest. I felt very relaxed. Too relaxed. I had to make sure to stay awake and not drive into a ditch. That's the end of part 1. Thanks for taking the time to listen to one of my videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.